Welcome back to Lifestyles with Terry Lynn. We're celebrating harvest and Thanksgiving. Earlier, I baked a cornbread. It turned out beautifully. I'm going to use half of this for corn salad, which is very exciting. It's delicious. It's like a party in your mouth. And we're going to get started on that. I've got everything down here on this table to assemble the corn salad. I can hardly wait. Okay, what I'm doing here is I'm breaking up half of the cornbread with a spoon into little pieces. That's very easy. You can crumble up with your hands too if you like. Here are the delicious ingredients that's going into this cornbread salad. As you can see, there's the bacon and some extra tomato that I cut up a few minutes ago. That will be fresh on top. Okay, because we'll have the other tomato in the middle. Okay, as the layer. There's our beans. These are chili beans. And there's canned corn. I couldn't do fresh corn because there's only 2 cobs left in the freezer, and my husband wants those. Okay, he put his claim on them. There's some shredded cheese, and there's what we're going to use for our dressing. Sour cream, ranch, and mayo. I just have a little ranch in here, so I have a backup. So let's get started. Yummy, yum. This is going to be good. Let's put some cornbread in the bottom of the glass pan. It's good to have a see-through glass pan or glass bowl. That way it will be beautiful. Okay, that should be enough. There we go. Next, we're going to add some chili beans or pinto beans. It usually calls for pinto beans, but my husband and we like the chili beans. And I drained these once, but I wanted to leave some of that delicious chili flavor. Gives it a little spice. Okay, just use this is something you can measure out what you like and make it the way you like it. You know, you don't have to follow a recipe. Maybe at first, there's many recipes online too. Okay, and then we're going to do some of these other toppings coming up here. I want to make sure I have enough beans on my cornbread bottom. Now you just layer your ingredients. I'm doing a layer of cheese. And then the vegetable toppings, or fillings and toppings. A little green pepper, some onion, some tomato. Okay. And we're going to do corn. Oh, we're going to do bacon. Bacon, just a little bit. I just want a little bit in the middle. Most of it's probably going to go on top. My husband loves bacon toppings. Okay. Next is corn, and I don't want to get the water in there, so I want to make sure, because, you know, the canned corn had water. Let's layer that. Just a little bit of corn. Okay. Each layer, I just do a little bit. Maybe you could do more layers. I have a smaller bowl, but you could do as many layers as you like, depending on how much cornbread you have and all the other ingredients. Now it's time to put this aside and make our dressing. Okay, we have a little sour cream. I'm just going to use my discretion about how much to make. This is where following a recipe would probably help, but I just like to eyeball it pretty much. And ranch dressing. So we got sour cream, ranch dressing, and we'll do a little mayo coming up here. I just do thin layers of the salad dressing. Maybe I'll do more on top. Just mix that together. That's all you need right there, and they have good flavors. If you want to use a little minced garlic or garlic powder, you can do that also according to your taste. You can actually taste this, give it a taste test, but I'm not going to because when I made it before, it was fine the way it was. A little garlic powder will be nice. I used the rest of that ranch dressing too. I found out more ranch dressing, extra ranch dressing always flavors it. You really don't need a whole lot of mayonnaise, not as much as what it might call for. The sour cream is important though. It does provide a nice creaminess along with the ranch dressing. You can sprinkle a little salt and pepper between the layers if you like, or a little salt and pepper in your dressing. Now I'm going to put the dressing down. Just gonna, according to how you think you might like it. Yeah, I think that's plenty. Okay, that's one layer of dressing. Then we're going to do the cornbread. Spread that out a little. Do some more cornbread. I think I'm going to save the scallions for the top. Unless I run low on the onions, then I'll mix them with the scallions for the middle too. There's another cornbread layer. I'm going to repeat the same process. Layer of cheese. Green pepper. Oh, I forgot the beans. Got to do the beans too. There we go. There we go. And then your other toppings. I'm just going to finish those out, I think. The tomato and a little bit of scallion. There we go. And gotta have your bacon and some tomato. And corn. Okay, it's time for the dressing. I got 2 layers of cornbread, and we're only 2 people. This I'll probably give my sister some to try on Sunday if we still have some left. Who knows? As good as this is, we may not, because we eat this like a meal. And then finish your toppings. Actually, I'm not going to put any more beans. That's plenty. Just use your discretion, like for garnish. Garnish it any way you like. I like to put a variety of the different ingredients on the very top. There's a little corn. It is cornbread salad after all. Corn's an important ingredient. And a little cheese. And this is looking awesome. Love it, love it, love it. Maybe a little more cheese. I made a mess, but this is great, like confetti, the cheese is, and everything's looking beautiful. The cornbread salad is finished, and it's absolutely delicious looking. I put some of the extra cornbread around the edges there, and this just turned out beautiful. It's just beautiful. Look at that. You can see the layers in there if you look closely. It's gorgeous. Very colorful, like confetti. It's a celebration of the harvest because you have cornbread, and which the native Indians ate quite a bit of that. They grew corn and everything, and you have all the other vegetables that were harvested this year. I harvested myself, the green pepper and the tomato, and then other ingredients like beans that were grown somewhere and harvested. So this is a blessing. Praise the Lord. I'm going to cover this with plastic wrap and put it in the refrigerator to chill while we work on our 2 other dishes. Now we're going to work on our second dish, which is I already have cooked noodles with broccoli cut up in little pieces, and we have plenty of shredded cheese. So let's make the cheese sauce for the cheesy noodles with broccoli. This will be a really delicious side dish. The reason it's not that healthy is because there's a lot of cheese. Too much cheese is not good for you, but we're going to eat it anyway, along with margarine, which makes it really delicious, margarine or butter. I must say, cheese is a great form of calcium, a really good form of calcium. So that's my favorite form of calcium, cheese. It's very flavorful too. I'm going to try to go light on it but it is tempting to eat a lot of cheese. It's one of the most delicious foods there is, I think. And it does have some protein too, I believe. Yeah. And perhaps vitamin D. So it's good for you, just not too much. Yeah. It's always good to eat vegetables when you eat macaroni and cheese. Make sure you have some kind of vegetable with it. It's good for your gut. Like some greens or some salad or something. Cheese sauce, I'm melting some margarine, about 3 tablespoons. We're just living it up today. Getting ready to add a couple tablespoons of flour. About 3 tablespoons, in fact. Okay. And then we'll mix that up with a whisk. Really good. And we'll add a little chicken broth and a little water. A little chicken broth and a little milk in it. Okay. So mix that up really good. Make sure your flame is on low, very low. And now it looks like a dough, doesn't it? You're going to start, you can turn your flame up a little bit now. Start adding your chicken broth. Now turn it up really high. Once you add your chicken broth. We're not going to add all of that chicken broth, I don't think. But I made extra in case I can use it for something else. I have another soup in mind. In fact, with squash. So, not today, but another day perhaps. Okay, more liquid. So this is a sauce, so it's not going to be as thin as a soup. So I'm going to whisk away. Don't think we're going to need the rest of that. Because I want to put milk in this too. And cheese, lots of cheese. Thickened up really good. I've got it as low as the flame will go. I'm going to start adding my milk. Just a little bit to start with. And see how, and then whisk that in. Okay, I think that, it won't be too much more. We're going to add a bunch of cheese. Okay, you start adding your cheese. I got a mixture of 2 different kinds, sharp and mozzarella. Okay. Just a quick cheese sauce that is great for macaroni and cheese or cheesy noodles or even a dip. And you can make a cheese soup with this. You would just use more of the chicken broth and or milk or both. See how cheesy that is? Remember, it's got mozzarella too, so it's not going to be yellow. Not completely. It's not need any salt at all because of the chicken broth. I did put a little pepper in it. I'm going to just add my noodles and coat them. Yep. By the time you mix everything in, and then you can add cheese to the top of it after you plate it for a garnish and for more cheesy goodness. I'm going to give this a taste test. All it needs is more cheese, for sure. And then it's perfect. Cheesy noodle broccoli turned out creamier than I thought it would. It's great. I'm going to add some cheese, shredded cheese for a topping. You can also add breadcrumbs, cracker crumbs, or something else for a topping, whatever you like. I don't know if the little onion rings might be good too, perhaps. That sounds good. Or scallions. Yeah, there you go. All right then. This looks great. You could use more broccoli too for more nutrition. Okay. I didn't use very much. I didn't have very much left. There it is. I want to put some more cheese over here. I just want it to look gorgeous. Oh boy. My husband will love this. I love it. Now it's time to make sweet potato pudding, which I've never made before. I did find a recipe, but it's a pumpkin pudding, but it sounds easy and complicated at the same time. So I'm not going to use all of the ingredients that it called for, but I'm going to base it on this. And I'm going to use extra sweet potato puree. So it will be super healthy because this by itself, and this is nothing but mashed sweet potatoes that have been steamed. This is good by itself. You really don't need to add anything. You know, for a savory dish, you could add a little salt, pepper, butter. For a sweet dish, you could just add a little brown sugar or white sugar or cinnamon or nutmeg, and you can make it taste really good, a little milk. So we can make a pudding very easily without actually cooking it. But I'm going to follow this recipe a little bit and see how it goes. But like I said, I'm going to use more puree than what it calls for because we want it to be all about the sweet potato, which is great by itself, in fact. Some ingredients in the pan. I'm not going to use as much brown sugar as what it called for because that recipe is for pumpkin. Pumpkin is not very sweet. Sweet potatoes are sweet, so you don't need as much. I'm only going to use a third instead of a half brown sugar. So put that in there, and then I'll be gathering the other ingredients. Okay. Corn calls for cornstarch, 2 tablespoons, plus 2 teaspoons of cornstarch. Okay, now the spices, I'm just going to sprinkle some in here. I'm not going to worry about whether it's enough. We can always add more. My husband wants more cinnamon or whatever. Here we go. A little nutmeg. That was cinnamon. A little ice. A little allspice. I need to get some new ice. Whoa! I think I put too much. Okay, we're going to get a clean whisk because I already used one and I need to use another one. Mix that up like that. We're slowly going to add milk and then turn the heat on eventually. Before I even turn the flame on, I'm going to whisk in the milk. You got to whisk it in because you have cornstarch and you can't turn the heat up yet. It's got to be mixed up first, about 1.5 cups of milk. It called for 1/2 cup of cream too. I'm going to omit that. I'm using extra puree and that should make it fine. We like the consistency, the way the sweet potatoes are right now. So this is just going to make a pudding to go with the sweet potato puree. I've got some other ingredients I'll be adding. So whisk in 1 cup of pumpkin puree. Not pumpkin, sweet potato. It called for 1/2 cup of sweet potato puree, and I added a whole cup of the sweet potato puree. So I doubled it. And I'm just going to stir this until it thickens, just like you do when you make homemade pudding. If you've ever made it, you got to stay on top of it. Make sure it doesn't burn on the bottom of the pan. Stay on top of it with a whisk. I also put a little vanilla and a little bit of ginger in that. It's said to add it at this stage. Vanilla, I understand, but why the ginger was added later, I don't know. I would have added it with the spices. I'm sure there's a reason for it. Maybe the flavor, it brings out more of the ginger flavor later. You add it later. So this is heating up now. We're going to create a pudding. Folks, this also called for 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter. I'm not going to put that in this. I'm just going to cook it the way it is and see how it goes. Yeah, we don't need that extra margarine or butter. So if it will turn out without it, I don't know why it wouldn't. I think we'll be fine. I think that was just to add more richness to the pudding. This is a lot of fun. The pudding is done. So our sweet potato pudding is done. It is set. My husband gave it a taste test, and he said it's absolutely delicious. I put some pecans, some chopped pecans for garnish. Of course, the cornbread salad is the star of the night. Absolutely delicious, and it was a lot of fun to make. And then we have our cheesy noodles with broccoli, and it turned out very well too. So this is home cooking at its best and very healthy in most cases. So we can splurge a little for the holidays with the fat and the cheese though, and the sweets. Okay then, I'm getting ready to close this out, folks. This was a lot of fun. Thanks for joining me on this cooking adventure. Remember to prepping food ahead of time, especially for the holidays, is a smart thing to do. God bless each and every one of you. God bless America. I'll see you on the next one.